Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV. Wow, it's hard to believe it's Thursday morning. I mean, even for me, I'm saying to myself right now, it's Thursday. Time, life but a vapor. The power of time. What about that thought? The power of time. The power of this Ford Super Duty. Here, it's crazy. The Ford Super Duty 2023 high output motor option is the hold on here. Oh, the phone's already ringing. But yeah, so the Ford 2023 Super Duty Series diesel 6.7 power stroke setup, high output. It's going to be 1,200 foot-pounds of torque and 500 horsepower. Wow. I mean, beyond believable. I mean, this thing here has like 1,000 foot-pounds of torque and like 400 and some odd horsepower, but just incredible. The power. And that's what I'm talking about today. Is I got to thinking this morning, the conversation for the morning conversations, and I thought to myself, let's talk about power. Come on, dogs. Let's talk about the power. And that's such a broad, word meaning, references, applications. It's infinite when you talk about power. But I just have to think of myself, the power of these cars. What is it? Just for me in my life, what is it? I mean, it's an incredible power that dominates me to own these cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles, boat, tractors. And I just was thinking to myself this morning, come on, Ginger, let's go. Come on. We're not playing. Got to get in and go to work. I was just thinking, wow, the power. Just in the reference to cars and engines. And here you go. Here is the power of the Bronco Raptor. The Raptor that I'm telling you straight up, I had no clue a week ago this would be sitting in my garage. I had no clue Monday morning this would be sitting in my garage. I mean, nothing whatsoever planned for this vehicle here. I mean, I just can't emphasize enough. Yeah, the power for me to pull this off, just beyond believable of what I did. Those who follow my channel, they know this conversation. Beyond believable that I have a Ford Bronco Raptor. And for some that aren't really into the Bronco, here's the thing. The regular Bronco 2.7 motor versus the 3.0 motor, it's like 300 and I think 10 horsepower and versus like 414 horsepower or something like that. It's like 100 horsepower difference just in power. So that's the first thing that separates the Bronco Raptor from the regular Bronco V6 option. They have a 4-cylinder option as well. Then you have the 37-inch bigger tires versus the 35-inch tires. And you have the bigger suspension that's a wider suspension underneath of it, bigger fender flares. There's a lot of things more in the Raptor. But just to kind of give you an overview, that's just kind of the basic. It sits up higher. It's just the tires, I think, do that more than anything. I guess the suspension as well. So just a kind of, general idea of what's going on there between the two Broncos. And I just think to myself, wow, the power. The power of the one Bronco versus the other Bronco didn't really make me, but got me excited about me buying the Bronco Raptor when I really wasn't focused on that. Here, so that's a powerful. It's just a powerful thing that Ford did to me. Again, automotive industry, what it does to us individuals that want things, you usually see they're ready to work. They are ready to obey the power. And so, anyways, I just got to thinking, what am I going to talk about today on my YouTube channel that will entertain you and give you ideas? And that's the whole idea, because I have the passion for cars and I share that, and I also share my passion to talk and give ideas and views. which I just enjoy doing that, and I can only hope that just me talking gives you ideas and views to the better. So the power is such a broad word, and I just think the power of the cars. And I think to myself, there's a total disconnect on the electric vehicle power movement versus the ICE power movement. And I really got to think to myself this morning, what is that? I mean, for my generation and people, I'm so can relate with the power of an engine. And think about this, engines can be intimidating. They can be just overpowerful. They can be scary. And I just, being how I live on, not the main road, but a road that has a lot of traffic, just laying in bed, I can hear cars go by that have loud exhaust, loud engines, loud music. I heard a guy going down the road this morning with his boombox going off. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, Jesus Christ, that was radical. I mean, I started to wonder if a guy sitting out front of my house, in my driveway. That's how powerful that boombox was. So I think to myself, the challenge that I can personally relate right now with the electric vehicle versus the ICE vehicle is it's that engine. It's the feel of the engine. Yes, electric vehicles are extremely powerful. They're fast. They're all that, but they don't radiate that engine noise vibration. And I just think to myself, we went to the NHRA Bristol Thunder Valley weekend. Just the incredible experience when those top fuelers do their drag. I mean, it's just the whole stadium rumbles. So it's just incredible, the power of the engine. And I think that's the challenge that the green agenda doesn't want to hear from the ICE people is we don't get that. They're trying to create sound out of these electric vehicles, but you don't get that true power feeling of that engine, of that roaring noise, the vibration, it's just a total disconnect. And that's why I say that when you drive an electric vehicle, it feels like an empty suit. That's kind of my slang, my saying. You just don't have that same connection with the car. And that's where so many people disconnect with electric vehicle, and they don't want one. They want that engine feel, and they don't mind paying the money to go down the road to buy the gasoline to do that. And so I think to myself, the automotive industry, it's such a powerful, it's overwhelmingly powerful what people will do and sacrifice to own vehicles. And as we know, what people do to steal them. That's a big problem. And the power of cars can disrupt relationships. It can create, just unhappiness because of people want to go buy a car. And then here we go. There's nobody here. There's nobody here. The watches that are faked out by the fly, right? Then the real robber shows up and they're all sleeping. Anybody know those stories? So I just think to myself, the power of cars, it's just infinite of a conversation that I could spend all day talking about that. And I just think to myself, just for me as an individual, look at my life. My life has been revolved around power. Power, yeah. One thing I was thinking to myself too was just in general, power. We are attracted to power. What is that all about? We look at power as strength. We look at it as leadership. We look at it as knowledge. I mean, we look at it as a statement. I mean, there's so many things that power can have on the good and the bad. And so for me, like when I was younger, one thing that I was very wanted to do was lift weights. In fact, I have a picture of Arnold here in my, see that? There's Arnold Schwarzenegger when he got going. I can remember reading his book. And I was an individual that gave me power to say, I want to look like that. Yeah, right. Yeah. You ever seen pictures of my barn? I think you have. Here's a good old barn. There's me rebuilding it. I could shake this whole barn. I can literally take this barn with my hand and the whole thing would just shift back and forth when we took it all apart. I mean, it was totally, can't if you see that picture's there or not. Yeah, there it is. Is it that one? No, yeah, I think that's it. You can just see how the whole roof was taken apart. So that was a major project. Yeah, that's how the old barn used to look. See that? Yeah, I didn't have this nice barn. I lived here basically like close to 12 years before I was able to restore this barn. There's a Bronco. There's had my dad had one of those. Vipers never had one of those. But anyways, I started weightlifting. So for me, I got into the power of exercising and trying to be strong, and that was something that was a key foundation of my beginnings. Was I played sports and I lifted weights, and I was just, to me, like a discipline thing. That just started teaching me. That's why I love sports. It's a discipline thing. I just love sports because it's just it's a great tool to life to help you grow up. I think it's so important. And some people really aren't into it, but for me, yeah, when I started lifting weights and then I set goals, and I never knew about the steroids. I mean, thank God I didn't. I did not know back in the late 70s and early 80s that my friends were doing steroids. For me, I'm in there busting my chops in the gym, and I'm seeing my friends just explode by me. And I just was like, this makes no sense. So the power of the steroids, these people just blew up. But I never did that. And I just continued to stay really consistent on me just training throughout the years. And it really wasn't until I was like 28, I guess it was like 91. Yeah, 90. I would have to say 91. I really then kind of hit my prime in lifting. And I taught myself how to power lift. And I got into where I was squatting 650 and I was deadlifting, I'm not lying here, 980. My bench was never good because my arms are too long. And I used to do, hyperextensions and sit-ups. I'd do like 200 of those a day. I mean, I used to really train a lot, and I had a goal to try to become just incredibly strong. But what that did for me is when I started my business, my telephone business, so that was one of my first real businesses, was the public telephone business. That's kind of where I really got my foundation to really kind of start moving forward in my life, even though I did a lot of other things before I got to that. And I owned my own public telephone business, and since I was in such incredible strength and capabilities, I worked 7 days a week, and I installed 400 payphones. I mean, I had another guy that would help as well, but I had to dig concrete. I had to trench and concrete and electrical and crawl through buildings and climb telephone poles. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you have no idea how much these payphones weigh till you pick one up, and then just installing the equipment and blah, blah, blah. So that was like my true beginnings, but it wasn't from my foundation, my incredible power that I had created as I grew up. I wouldn't have been able to do that because it took incredible strength for me to be able to, not only just do the whole business of sales and installations and maintenance and managing the company and manage relationships with customers. I did all of that, but I attribute it to the power of my foundation of my own body that enabled me to really accomplish a lot. And I did. I put in 400 payphones in 2 years, and I had $1 million out that I went through $1 million. I had $1 million in monies, and I had borrowed like increments of money here and there, and I paid off all my debt by 2000. I had spent over $1 million, and I had no debt. And then the whole election thing came up with George Bush and Al Gore, and oh my gosh, overnight the whole telephone business declined by 30%. And I knew right there in 2000 that the public telephone business was not going to be my future for many, many more years. That's a whole other discussion. But back to the power. So what I'm trying to say to you this morning is it's just incredible. The cars and trucks and motorcycles, the power those have created for us, not only for the passion for us to go want to buy them, and we'll work our tail off. I hear so many stories of people that are saving up their money, they're working harder, they're doing things, they'll sell something to enable them to be able to buy a car. It's a powerful thing. And then you buy the car, and you want that powerful car. And that's my challenge. I always want the bigger, better, more powerful car. Just like why they just sell my Red Hot Pepper Wild Track. I mean, think it through. That thing was a very fast, very awesome Bronco. I mean, truly. I mean, it really is. It really is, really was, because now I don't own it anymore because I had to I'm on the page where you got to give something up to get something else. Yeah, that should be more so than less so, because look at the fleet that's grown again. But the power is I now have a more powerful Bronco, just like the Challengers. I had the regular SRT Challengers with like 485 horsepower. That wasn't good enough. I now have the 800 horsepower Challengers. And then the GT Mustang, same thing. I had the GT Mustang. That was like a 460 horsepower car. But now I had to get the GT 500, had 760 horsepower. Yeah, so downstairs I have 4 cars right now with roughly 800 horsepower. So there's 3,200 horsepower in my garage. Yeah, so the power, just the constant, mankind is looking for the power. We want to make things more powerful, or somebody wants to be more powerful. And then there's kind of me where it can go the other direction, where now the power agenda is electric vehicle agenda. So it's being taken away. The passion for the ICE vehicles and us motorheads is transitioning to the power of batteries, which that's I just explained to you that I'm not excited about the electric vehicle on the aspect of the getting that real connection with that vehicle. You just don't have the same connection. It's just a weird feeling. It's so much more enjoyable for me to ride around my ICE vehicles. It really is, because I have electric vehicles, but I don't drive them. Somebody else drives them. And I even have an F-150 Lightning vehicle come in. I don't know. Tell you what, the power, not the power. And for me, I've had incredible success and power with like people at Kuhn's Baltimore Ford that have gotten deals done that you just for the average person, these cars are financed. These are not me going down the dealership and writing a check and I bring them home. They're mine. These are financed. So this is huge. This is huge financial obligation for me, and it's huge financial commitment from the financiers that let me buy this stuff. So that is not that easy. And you watch my channel, this is not some guy that has this big open checkbook that's millions of dollars that I just drive around and I spend my money. No, I have to finance this stuff. That's why it can be nerve-wracking. Yes, very challenging. So the power of the bankers for me has created, the power of the finance people have created what I have sitting in my driveway in my property. That's huge. And that's why you have to have relationships, the power of relationships. But at the same time, what I was just saying, what's kind of not comforting is the power of the change. Is that more than ever, we're starting to see a trend of the electric vehicle getting so much power of a movement to transition away from the ICE age. And this is what's really incredible. Last night, I was reading in the Wall Street Journal that all these electric vehicle companies like Rivian and Lucid, and there's a handful of them out there, but I just don't know all their names. But they're all right now in terrible financial straits. They're very, very challenged. Rivian is, it's a new startup company, but it's losing billions of dollars right now. And it has a projection of being able to get through the challenges through 2025. They have $14 billion in cash, but they just burned through close to $2 billion just this last 2 quarters. And so their goal is to continue to burn through cash and eventually get over the hurdle. And that's interesting because it reminds me of Tesla. So many people thought Tesla would go bankrupt. It was so dominant, the conversation that Elon Musk would go bankrupt in Tesla. It never ever happened. At the last minute, he'd finagle something. So here's what's interesting. If you're watching my channel, I was talking about the Twitter people leaving by the droves, the advertising companies telling people not to advertise on Twitter. Well, here Elon Musk just has now announced he's telling the advertising companies he does not want the advertising until the fake accounts are removed. Wow. Didn't we just talk about this the other day? That Elon Musk is opened Pandora's box. He's telling the advertising companies, I don't want to be part of the scam. The scam is there was a ton of fake accounts on Twitter that were supporting the agendas of people that weren't really that much supported. That's a sad part that we're witnessing more than ever, is the media machine convinces so many people to think what's wrong is right, but it's fake. It's fake accounts. It's fake responses. It's fake. It's fake involvement. So Elon Musk is shutting that down. It's like, no, we're not going to start letting advertisers advertise on Twitter until the accounts are all cleaned up and we really know the real human beings for the most part, so that he doesn't misrepresent people spending money on the Twitter platform. That and see there, and we talked about this the other day. I talked about it in great depth, that you just watch this start to play out at Twitter. It's going to be classic. Why is the left leaving? Why is the left leaving? The left is leaving because the majority of people do not support their agenda. This is very, very important for anybody watching my channel. And I know they say it gets political. Well, I don't care, because it's the media machine is political all day long, no matter what you look at and do. So for me, the power of the media machine, we know, has been bad, really bad. And so that's where I was saying earlier that the power of good and bad. So right now, Elon Musk is truly just revamping the fake news, the fake information. He's opening that whole thing back up, which the former sitting president was all about all that all the time, if everybody remembers that. Fake news, fake news. So for Elon Musk, he's kind of opening up the door to show them how the media machine presents things to people that's not factual. The majority of people don't like what's going on in this country. And what people don't realize is the way these voting systems, and I shouldn't say you don't, but just to give an overview, and I'm not the voting expert, but it's the Electoral College that creates this stuff. So to give you an example, I'll just use Fetterman in Pennsylvania. The only reason Fetterman was reelected in Pennsylvania was because it's just key districts that have more sitting senators or congressmen that have the power in those areas to get the representation to win for him, because it's just the Pittsburgh, the Philly, it's the heavy population areas that have, in your electoral college, more congressmen, more senators, that give it the power to win the vote. When the rural areas don't want anything to do with what Fetterman's wanting to do, but since it's the spread out areas, we don't have as many congressmen and senators to represent each district in the areas. It gets a little complicated, but the whole point is, I'm trying to radiate, it's the power of information that unfortunately is being misinformed to people. That people believe something because they believe the majority likes it, and that's the danger that we're at right now. And the majority don't like it. It's the minority that like it. I've talked about it a lot. So, back to the power. So I just think to myself, on an electrical vehicle movement, it's an incredible, powerful movement right now. But at the same time, where are we getting the power? So it's like an irony. It's a total. It's just befuddling to think that everybody's on the green agenda movement in that class, and I shouldn't say everybody, but the EV movement is the battery powered movement. But where is the power coming from? It's coming from fossil fuels. But yet, more than ever, we're seeing that the fossil fuels are wanting to be shut down, but it's not working. It's not working. And I talked about it yesterday about the fuel crisis, the power. There's energy, the power of oil. Come on, look at the fortunes that have been made over in the Middle East from the power of oil. Even here, stateside, the amount of money that's been made, incredibly powerful people came from oil. Yeah, and they still do, that have the riches of the world. But I think to myself right now, wow, we right now are truly, possibly, even when I say this, I think I'm kidding myself. But I think that now that the midterms have passed, and get this, so now the sitting president of our country now all of a sudden is saying, hey, I want to talk to the other side. I want to try to make things work. Are you kidding me? Okay, so we right now know that it's possible that the Republicans are going to take the House majority, which means if they have a House majority, then they can reject the sitting president's ideas and views. So all of a sudden today, the sitting president is saying, oh, by the way, I really think now I want to kind of start working with Republicans. Are you kidding me? Yeah, because he has no choice. So it's so. But the media machine was representing this at a whole different angle. Oh, he's a really great guy. He's going to work with Republicans now. It's all Republicans' fault. I mean, oh my gosh. I know it's a left versus right. I get that. But it's the media machine that's destroying this country, and the power of the media machine is accomplishing that. It's just so. So from now that the midterm elections are for the most part wrapped up, still not totally, but keep an eye on the gas prices. Keep an eye on the gas prices, because all the gas prices sure seem to go down right before the midterms hit for a good 45 days, I'd say. So just keep an eye on the gas prices. So in January, when you're paying $4, $4.50 for gas again, wow, I wonder how that happened. Wow. Yeah, the barrel of oil is way up to close to $100 a barrel. I've talked about it yesterday. The fuel crisis is, in my eyes, it's probably pretty real, because the refineries are raising their hands saying we can't keep up production, and now the Russia sanctions are going to start coming to be in January. So technically, the Russia oil is supposed to be like off the market in January. So I think that potentially, you're talking February, March next year, we just may have the thing where you're going to the gas station, you can't get any gas. Yeah, that sounds crazy. I know some people but no, because the green agenda will be accomplishing their agenda. They're going to continue to preach that the fossil fuel is the wrong thing to use and you need to buy an electric vehicle. Even though electric vehicle manufacturers right now are struggling, even though I'm witnessing that the demand for electric vehicles now, the dealerships I deal with, it's not there like it was. What is going on? I mean, what is going on? So the gas prices went down 50 cents a gallon, and it's that radical for a person to come to closure not to buy an electric vehicle. The power of money. Yeah, I could talk all day long about the power of money, the power of this, but I just thought this morning to myself, what drives me? What drives me to do the things I do? Because you're following my channel. What number is this? I mean, is this number 23? I mean, for me, this is beyond believable for what I've done this year. Did I ever have a plan, per se, to do this year? I really didn't. The first part of the year, I was never on the page. I'm going to buy all these cars this year. But at the same time, as I've gotten momentum, I've kind of started to think, wow, for me in my lifetime, this would be a powerful thing, right? Yeah. Or the dire straits in the end. Yeah. Things go south. How's that all play out, Mr. Iceman? Yeah, I know, right? Better hope you have good value in all these cars you bought. Yeah, right. The used ones, yeah. How much are those worth now? Yeah, right. I preached that over a year ago. Don't buy a used car. You'll get caught up in the high used car prices, then you'll be stuck with it. But yeah, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, I tell you what's powerful is yesterday I went to Koons Baltimore Ford. Finally came to closure. I'm going to go ahead and do the deal, even though part of me is like, why the hell am I doing this? Why the heck am I doing it? My Ford Bronco Wild Track is more than enough truck for me. It's beautiful. I love it. It's awesome. And I love it. Why the hell am I doing this? The power of something bigger and better drove me to swap out. But the biggest thing, powerful thing is that there at the Koons Baltimore Ford, what they did at the last second, and how they gave me a lot more money for my Bronco. Yes. So in the end, for me, I'm not going to share with what I paid for that Bronco. And you know why? Because it's just going to create issues. Because that vehicle was advertised for $120,000, $40,000 over. And for me to start bragging on my channel what I paid for it, it's not the right thing to do. I'm not going to do it because I have a unique relationship with people, and I'm just not going to create the hate. That's what I was thinking to myself this morning is, wow, the power of hate. Does anybody, step back and realize the power of hate changed the sitting powers of this country? Does anybody remember this? In 2019 to 2020, the power of hate changed the sitting administration and totally changed the whole direction of this country. So, but it's created the hate. What I mean by that is the agenda was the former sitting administration, the powers to be, was creating hate in this country. It was creating turmoil in this country. And so it convinced people that things were so bad that they would change administration and change powers and change direction. Are you kidding me? Can you honestly tell me right now that things are better off than they were in 2019? Can you tell me that? I mean, really, come on. Sincerely, how's your 401k doing? I mean, sincerely, I'm hearing people are getting their tails kicked on that. How's that gas price doing for you? How's that price on that car doing for you? How's the value of your house now that you overpaid for it? Yeah, how's the value of that car that you probably overpaid for now? Yeah, how's that grocery bill looking for you? Hey, how much money is in your checking account versus what it was in 2019? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. How's that RV that you bought during the pandemic? How's that doing? Yeah, you're a little nervous about getting rid of that. How's that boat doing? You waited forever to get. Now you got it. And now you think you should get rid of it, but the gas price is so high, nobody wants it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So what I'm saying to you is the power of hate. That was the agenda to get a sitting president out of office and sitting members in the House out of office in control. And so they used all the hate movement. But in the end, they're the ones who have now created more turmoil and more frustration and more anger and more unhappiness than the former administration. So the power, just incredible, the power of manipulation. I call it, I call it the powers of deception, the masters of deception. Yeah, that's a powerful thing. So anyways, it'll be all day. Just wanted to share some ideas that for us individuals or ICE vehicles, lovers, trucks, cars, motorcycles, the power of what that has done to me in my lifetime. That's just been my driving, whole thing. My whole life is to be able to own nice cars, and I've worked my tail off my whole life. I mean, sincerely, nobody has given me these cars. There's no fool that has money that would give me all these cars. Why would you do that? If you had millions of dollars, would you be feeding me money to go buy my car addiction? Would you do that? How foolish would you be? So if anybody thinks that there's some handout money to me and I inherited money, yeah, right. No way, because if my father had millions and millions of dollars and he saw that I just blew it all the time, like doing drugs, he'd put a cap. I mean, I know of stories in families where there's a cap on the money of distribution. So when that person dies, they just say, yeah, this person, Iceman, just gets 50 grand a year. He ain't going to get his $1 million income every year to go piss it away in vehicles and chasing women and doing all this other stuff. I mean, this stuff goes on all the time. So yeah, so for me, yeah, the power of these cars, but it's created me to want to accomplish incredible things. So it made it possible for me to have the power to buy these nice, powerful vehicles. Hey, how'd that sound, right? Hey, everybody, appreciate watching my channel. Now, sincerely, what's the next adventure? I mean, really, sincerely, I can honestly tell you there isn't one. Yeah, the F-150 Lightning truck, it's in production. It's coming. I don't know. I would have to say, this is the first time, and I'm being sincere here. It's a Ford Motor Credit relationship that helps me get all these deals done. And for the first time, I felt from my key guy that something's going on. Something's going on with the banking industry. And I'm just getting this feeling that they're just really starting to clamp down. And so I don't know. Even to the point that this deal went down, the glimmer of hope, it really did. But I kind of get the message from my finance guy, kind of like, boy, this is kind of changing. Things are kind of changing. So it sounds like something's changed on the back end. The whole point is, what am I going to give up for an F-150 Lightning truck? What would I give up? And I'd have to give up something really nice for that. I don't know. So that would be next adventure. But you know what? I'm hearing so many stories of people that have had their vehicles built and they're sitting there for months and months. So that vehicle, it's the car gods. For me, does it play out? I say it all the time. It's the car gods. So for me, yeah, 2 weeks from now, I'm doing a video of me getting the F-150 Lightning stone gray metallic that I ordered, and there's another adventure. And if I even did that, I would just, off the tip of my tongue, I'm going to say 24 vehicles in 1 year, not including motorcycles or utility vehicle or tractors or anything else. But so just I'm going to say, so that would be 2 a month. So that's one every other week of buying a car. Can you even imagine? I mean, if you're watching this video, they're married or have relationships, they go out and buy a car once every 3-4 years, and they probably have an argument with a spouse about why they did that. Here's a guy you're watching on a YouTube channel, they probably goes out and buys a car every other week. Yeah, I'm your excuse, all right? Just don't watch my channel. Yeah, you're going to look beautiful. You will look beautiful after you watch my channel. They're like, wow, that guy's nuts. How does that all work out? And then they'll look at you like, all right, you know what? you can get one every 2 years instead of 3. Okay, there you go. Hey, I did my good deed of the day, right? Hey, everybody, thanks for watching my channel. Really appreciate the nice comments. People really do post great comments, nice comments. I really do appreciate that. I know some people are like, "Oh, it's all about you. It's all about me." Yeah, right. Well, I was doing this long before I started making YouTube channels. I mean, think it through. I mean, sincerely, you don't think I was doing this 10 years ago and 20 years ago? Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, everybody, have a great day. Stay safe and stay tuned for some more conversations and